In the most holy name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Ava Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. We thank Him for raising in our midst the promised Messiah, predicted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and thank them both for their anointed servant, living in our midst and back from death's door, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I greet my beloved family in the words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Tracy, I am overwhelmed, and it is important that you have a master's degree in library science, because as Minister Dawood left us with, the first instruction to Prophet Muhammad was to read in the name of thy Lord. And before I sit again, so we can open this discussion up to the esteemed members of this panel, and Sister Callie and Brother Howard are dear, dear friends of mine and my family. We're all from Columbus, Ohio. Praise be to Allah. And they know my family very well. Everyone that's on this day is more eminently qualified to assist in this exchange. And all of us are students. Minister Farrakhan continues to introduce himself as a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But just to move us into the issue of why would I even want to be married? What is in it for me? What is the purpose of it? And so as I discuss in Real Love, the book, and I want to allude to today before we go further, we must redefine what marriage is. We're in Western society. We're in a savage, adulterous society. We are in a society where 1 out of every 2 marriages fails. And the reason that marriage has all but disintegrated in the black family is because we are trying to assimilate into a world of rebellion against Allah's will. The primary instruction of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was to go and live among ourselves, and we have not yet done that. And so we're now at that last stage of the climb to Mount Everest. You are genetically, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally selected and produced for this time. Now you know when you're mountain climbing and you get at that last level, the air is thin and the brain is not getting oxygen. And so one has to call on another part of oneself beyond the physical in order to make it. And that's where we are right now. I addressed the youth yesterday, and I told them that they have that duty for that last push. Now that is going to entail converting our community from one that is dominated by single female-headed households to one that is dominated by married couples. It is ordained that everyone spends some portion of life alone. It's either going to happen when you're young, when you're in the middle age, or when you're older. But you will experience some period of life when you are alone. And that is going to allow you the time for reflection and to go within and deepen your intimate relationship with Allah. But even when we're alone, we should always be in the process of preparing ourselves for marriage. Because without marriage, we don't have the power base that we must have in the black community to develop the economic freedom that will allow us self-independence. That is why marriage is important. Because marriage, first and foremost, protects the species. It ensures that we go on. But marriage is also an economic power base. In that, you will find, if you study wealthy people, the overwhelming majority of extremely wealthy people are married and have been married for a long time. Because it is much more probable, and we're in Islam, which is mathematics. So you approach everything from critical thinking and mathematics. So going into marriage, we have to transcend who's cute, who kisses good, who has a nice voice. Those things are valid. They are valid, but they are not the base for a 39-year marriage to the same individual as you see sitting here before you. You approach mathematically because you have to increase, when you look at statistics and you're being fed these statistics by Western media telling you you have a 50% chance of success, then that is a terrible situation. So you have to reset and reconstruct the circumstances of that marriage to increase probability. Allah creates everything in pairs. So you don't have to bend your mind into a pretzel and become an obsessive compulsive trying to find a mate. When you were created, a mate was created for you. Now, the mate may not have even manifested in the third dimension yet. I'm older than my husband. I'm nearly 9 years older than my husband. So when I was in my early 20s and all my peers were getting married, and I was frantic, looking for mine, well, he was in junior or middle school. He had not yet become who he would be when the time came for him and I to encounter. And what was the purpose of our marriage? What is the purpose of Brother Howard and Sister Callie's marriage and your marriage? Whether you are in it, whether you are approaching it, whether you, as Minister Dawood stated, you've already engaged in a relationship and it did not work, we have a primary objective of building a nation. Your marriage is not just about you. It is what you and that person can do as a partnership to facilitate the resurrection of the mentally and spiritually dead in North America. That's the purpose. So we have to think mathematically. And when you think mathematically, you understand that there are only two kinds of outcomes, correct and incorrect. You can't be very near correct. A very near correct answer is wrong. If I say 2 plus 2 is 5, that's near correct, but I'm wrong. And when you make a mistake in mathematics, you may end up crashing an airplane. When you don't calculate correctly how many feet you are and how much room is on that runway correctly. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the black man is not capable, or rather it is impossible for him to destroy himself. You and I cannot destroy ourselves, but we can make our lives miserable.